Hey everyone. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I had really big plans for Thanksgiving, but I ended up having COVID and I just couldn't get myself together enough to record or to even do any research. So I just didn't. I just spent the time resting and relaxing. But I am back now with another very interesting case, I think, that is going to go into our state's first saga, if you will. Today we will head to snowy Minnesota. Warning: the following case depicts rape and various methods of murder. Listener discretion is advised. Joseph Donald Turr Jr. was born February 7th, 1951, in St. Paul, Minnesota. After his parents divorced when he was 10, he spent most of his time living in orphanages, even though his father had custody of him. He joined the Marines for 6 months while he was a teenager. That is all the information I have on his childhood. So now, we're just going to jump right into his many crimes. Around 4 a.m. on December 15th, 1978, Joseph Turr beat and shot 36-year-old Alice Huling. He then reloaded the shotgun, climbed the stairs, and shot and killed 3 of her 4 sleeping children: 16-year-old Susan, 13-year-old Wayne, and 12-year-old Patty. The only survivor was 11-year-old Billy. Billy survived the ordeal by pretending to be dead. The case would go cold for 21 years. On May 8th, 1979, 18-year-old Meryl's Wollenhaus was found with her head bashed in and star-shaped cuts on her scalp. She was found in a downstairs room of her home by her mother. Due to a severe brain injury, Meryl's was taken off life support and passed away on May 10th, 1979. Despite several suspects, and with no connection to the Huling murders, this case would also go cold. In 1980, Joseph was in jail awaiting trial for the kidnapping and rape of 3 people, one of which was only 13 years old at the time. During his time in jail, the police started to look at him as a suspect for several other rapes and assaults on young women. In particular, they were looking at his involvement with the rape and murder of 19-year-old waitress Diane Edwards. Several witnesses saw a dark station wagon pull onto the sidewalk and stop a woman. They then heard the woman scream and saw the driver force her into the car through the driver's door. Not one of the 5 witnesses could positively describe the make, model, or year of the car, or give a description of its driver. All they knew was that the car was a dark-colored station wagon with wood grain panels. They also noticed the woman was wearing a waitress uniform from Perkins Restaurant, which is where Diane worked. Diane Edwards' body was found by a hunter 2 weeks later. She had been sexually assaulted and died from multiple stab wounds to the chest. In 1981, Joseph was found guilty of the rape and murder of Diane Edwards and was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison. Now, if you're wondering why it's only 17 and a half years, they had to go with what the punishment was at the time of the murder. That is how the justice system works. If you murdered somebody in 1980 and you're not caught until now, in most states, they have to go by the law that was in place in 1980. I know for a fact Florida is one of the states that still has that law. I'm not sure how many others do, but I'm sure there's several. In 1998, the Cold Case Task Force was able to find a connection between Joseph Turr and the murder of Merrill's Wohlenhaus. He was tried and convicted. He received another 17-year sentence for her murder. In 1999, they tried him for the murders of the Huling family. Originally, they had suspected a neighbor, but Billy, who was now 32, testified he had seen and heard the assailant. The assailant was smaller than the neighbor in question, and Billy stated he did not know the voice of the person shooting. Jurors deliberated for 10 hours before coming back with a guilty verdict. He was sentenced on his 49th birthday to 4 counts of murder. Joseph Turr is also suspected of murdering Joan Birschbach near St. Cloud in 1979. Her body was found in 1984, 5 years after her death. It was found in a Mississippi River backwater in Wright County. Originally, Joseph was due for parole around 2025. But after those 2 other cases, he is now spending the rest of his life in prison. He used up his last appeal in 2004 when he petitioned the court because he basically believed he was being framed. The information that I'm using on this case comes from the actual court documents that I read. But if you go off of what Wikipedia has, it really does look like he was being framed. And I'm still a little skeptical. On Wikipedia, they stated that he owned a 1974 Ford Galaxy, but that the car in question was a dark-colored station wagon. What they didn't mention is that in 1974, which was the last year that the Ford Galaxy was originally made, there were two different types of the Ford Galaxy. There was a station wagon and there was a muscle car. He had the station wagon. However, the Ford Galaxy station wagon did not have wood grain panels on it. That was a totally different Ford model, but it wasn't a Ford Galaxy. In this case, it really ended up being fascinating for me because I really love cases where I really have to look for information. And the car really threw me for a loop, and I have sat and talked with my dad, who is a big car guy, and we have discussed the cars at length, and we've discussed the different types of station wagons that were made and everything, and he agrees with me that it was not the Ford Galaxy station wagon that was seen, because he remembers Ford Galaxy did not make the station wagon with the wood grain panels. So the fact that he had just a similar car is circumstantial evidence at best. But when you read the court documents and you see that they actually got a weapon out of his vehicle that was used, and that they have all these witness statements of him following women, and he actually had a journal with names and phone numbers in it, and they were all women who had turned him down, and some of them had come up missing. Even after 20 years, that's the kind of thing that sticks in a case. So, I had to look past the car because there had to be more to it than just that. But I'm still reeling about the car. I love cars, so I focus on things like that. I get hyper focused on one thing, and then I can't move on until I find exactly what I'm looking for. And I can't find it in this. So I'm going to be really focusing on that for a while. But yeah, he's still in prison. He'll stay in prison until his dying day. And unfortunately, he has no other way of fighting it now. There's nothing he can do. He's used up every single appeal. You only have like 5. So he used them all up by 2004. So what did you guys think of this episode? I know it's a shorter one, but it was really like fast paced when I found everything. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I am still working toward my Spotify goals of 50 followers for the Sour Candy Challenge. I'm at 48 followers. I need 100 followers for a spicy food challenge and 1,000 listeners in 60 days for a Bean Boozled challenge. Please make sure you're following and listening on Spotify. And I will be talking to you soon. Until then, stay true and whatnot. Bye.